Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. I'm your host, Tim Spring, and today I'm joined by Indicio's VP of Business Development, James Schulte, and Director of Customer Success, David Jones. And they're here to discuss the value of verifiable data in education institutions. I appreciate you both taking the time to join me today. Before we start, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure, yeah, I'll go ahead and start. As you mentioned, Tim, I'm VP Business Development here at Indicio, and I'm calling in today from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Excited to talk about the education use cases of verifiable credentials as well as open badges.
Hey everyone, I'm David Jones. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Indicio. So once you become a customer of ours, you'll be working with me directly. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Appreciate you both taking the time. If one of you could quickly break down what problems does verifiable data solve for education institutions?
Yeah, great question, Tim. So for educational institutions, there's all sorts of identity that's floating around for students and for employees. Students, for example, they need a digital identity or form of identity for access to their learning management platforms, so their LMSs, for example, to getting onboarded at the university, to getting their transcripts, to transferring credits from their previous institutions, if that applies. All sorts of things that they would need to prove, things about themselves or who they are. Also for employees, for employee access management, for employee onboarding, for employee hiring, in general, financial aid distribution, for alumni relations. So identity is everything when it comes to educational institutions. So with verifiable credentials and decentralized digital identity, the value that this brings is that not only does it make it more secure in terms of identity management, but also eliminates a lot of those friction points and bottlenecks that you would see. So that's why we're getting approached by more and more education institutions out there who are looking to deploy verifiable credentials at their universities and ed tech providers, for example, looking to have the ability to issue and verify credentials. So definitely seeing a major uptick there.
All right, awesome. So you mentioned quite a few use cases there, just kind of all over the university setting. Are there any real world examples that you kind of point to for us?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Tim. So we have tons of new customers from all over the globe who will be rolling out this year verifiable data solutions. And we'll see more individuals taking workshops and certifications through our Indicio Academy that we offer. But one customer that we're super excited about is a group here out of the United States called United School Administrators of Kansas. They offer professional development for teachers, professors, superintendents, principals, and all types of school administrators. And they also do policy advisement. So we're really excited to get this tech in the hands of more educators.
Awesome. Well, that sounds super exciting. Would you be able to break down exactly, what USA Kansas plans on using this technology for?
Absolutely. So at a high level, now using Proven USA Kansas will be able to quickly verify and issue transcripts for over 2,000 school administrators for the various certifications they offer.
All right. Wow, that sounds like a pretty big deal. Um, Pivoting just a little bit, I've heard a lot about, open badges for education. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what those are and, how they're kind of useful.
Yeah, definitely. So this is something that we're personally really excited about. But first, I'll give a little bit of backstory and context about open badges and where they came from. So they've actually been around since around 2011, and it started with the Mozilla Foundation. And their goal originally was to develop an open technical standard that, would create essentially a common system for issuance, collection, and display of digital badges across different types of platforms. So whether it be on like LinkedIn or social media, for example. And the value of the open badge essentially comes from the information or the metadata that's attached to it, which would provide its justification and ability for validation. So ability to prove certain skills or certifications on the internet. So now there's Open Badges 3.0, which is the latest specification that the One EdTech Consortium has developed. If you're not familiar with the One EdTech Consortium, they're a global nonprofit community of leading educational providers at all different levels, including government organizations, edtech suppliers, and other groups who are working together to create a better way to provide digital teaching and learning. So yeah, we're really excited about this version because it's the most advanced and innovative version of this standard to date. And what makes it different, and the reason that we at Indicio now offer open badges support and proven, is because it aligns with the verifiable credentials data model, or sorry, verifiable credential data model. And that's the World Wide Web Consortium's specification for verifiable data. And so now that this specification brings with it so many of the same benefits that verifiable credentials have, like immutability, verifiability, and portability.
Awesome. Thanks, James. That was a bit of information for everyone to take in. So I just want to clarify and kind of drill down into now the Open Badges 3.0 supports verifiable credentials data model. Can you talk to me about, why that's important and kind of what value that adds to Open Badges?
Sure, yeah. So like you said, now that the Open Badges 3.0 specification follows the verifiable credential data model, it brings that ability for portability and interoperability that previous versions of the specification didn't have. So for example, now with 3.0, these badges can live independently of the original issuance platform. So let's say the original badge provider were to disappear, that credential can live on independently and be used in other contexts beyond that. So I would say that's the big benefit that comes from following the verifiable credential model.
So what does that mean for parties that are either currently relying on Open Badges or are looking to Open Badges in the future? What does that mean for the end user?
So with the new version of Open Badges, what this brings is an extra level of digital trust. So with that enhanced privacy aspect that verifiable credentials bring, it makes the data that's being shared more trustworthy, makes it quicker to verify. So it makes it easier to verify the achievements or the unique skills of a student or a potential employee. So speaking from the perspective of employers, they're looking for particular candidates that embody certain skills or have certain experiences. These digital badges, having been issued by by the academic institutions or whatever certifying body, by putting them into a verifiable credential, it can quickly be received and verified by the end institution that needs that information. So it makes that data immediately actionable rather than having to call back to the university and say, hey, did they really do this? Or prevents them from having to simply rely on a PDF document where they typed that they have done XYZ. So this just brings extra layer.
So you mentioned that Open Badges are now available through Proven. I'm curious the new spin that Indicio puts on Open Badges and why does Indicio think it's better?
Yeah, great question, Tim. So currently open badges are created and shared on social media using third-party platforms, right? Now Indicio's solution allows anyone to create an open badge credential, anyone to receive and store that credential, and anyone with the right software to verify that credential. This makes open badges credentials more portable and permanent, while simultaneously simplifying data protection and privacy compliance. Indicio also makes open badges credentials dynamic by enabling micro credentials, profiles, bulk issuance and messaging, and alumni relations. And so, really badge holders can store and share their badges independent of any platform, enabling a truly portable and permanent way to record vital education and skill accomplishments.
So you touched on some interesting use cases there, which is mainly the bulk issuance and messaging and the alumni relations. I'm curious if one of you could really dive into what that would look like in the real world and why, educational institutions might look into Open Badges over their current processes.
Yeah, so I can chime in on this one here. So what verifiable credentials make possible is a secure channel of communication between an issuer of a credential and a holder of a credential. So a university being an issuer and a student or alumni being the holder of that type of credential. Especially in the case where DIDCOM is used as a communication protocol, it brings that extra level of security for a digital relationship. And it adds that extra level of encryption for communication on top of whatever medium is currently being used, whether that's through email or SMS, and it creates a secure endpoint for messaging between the two parties. So now, a lot of universities, for their alumni relations, they send out blast emails that's reaching who knows. So it's not necessarily an efficient way for them to retain contact or relationship with the alumni. So verifiable credentials bring that secure channel that allows for the alumni to retain their digital identity beyond graduation and that connection back to the university. And that becomes important for fundraising, for donations, for announcements, for community events, participation on campus activities, all sorts of stuff.
All right, awesome. Well, it looks like that is about our time for today. I appreciate both of you taking the time to really be here and talk with us today. If you at home are interested in learning a bit more about verifiable credentials, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you some more educational content. And if you have any questions or specific topics that you'd like for us to cover, please go ahead and leave a comment below. We'll be sure to read and address them. Thank you again to you, James and David. If people would like to learn a bit more about, verifiable credentials in the education space, where would you suggest they look?
Well, first, always check the website. We should be having more and more announcements coming out soon about deployments in the education space. I will also be at the One EdTech Digital Credentials Summit in New Orleans from March 4th to 7th. So if you're there, love to chat and would love to meet up.